Today on the Daily Meditation, I'm going to explain what to do if your meditation practice is not helping you with your anxiety. Now, anxiety, of course, is one of the most common mental health problems in the world. Billions of people suffer from it. I actually suffered from clinical anxiety myself years ago, which indeed is why I got into meditation in the first place. So there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that meditation can help with anxiety. The bad news is that it doesn't work in the way that you may have been told. So millions of people come to meditation thinking that it's a simple way to relax the mind and undo anxiety. And so you start doing things like breathing meditation, or perhaps you use an app like Headspace or Calm. And you expect that this is going to automatically cure your anxiety, and then you feel terribly disappointed when it simply doesn't work. So what do you do about it? Well, I'm going to explain why meditation helps a little bit with anxiety, the limitations of meditation for anxiety, and how to get way more out of meditation so that you can finally solve your anxiety, cure your anxiety using meditation. So for starters, let's get into how meditation helps with anxiety. So you've probably read a few articles online or watched a few videos, and I'm going to guess that those videos told you to practice breathing meditation. They probably told you that breathing meditation will promote activity of your parasympathetic nervous system, that it will reduce cortisol levels and balance noradrenaline levels. And all of that is completely true. If you do practice breathing meditations for just 10 to 20 minutes, you will feel relaxed while you meditate. However, after you finish meditating, when you start to go about your regular life, you might find that your anxiety comes back on you pretty darn quickly. And there is a reason for that. The reason why is because you haven't actually changed your thoughts. You haven't changed the way that you're processing your life. You haven't changed the way that you're processing your reality. You haven't really made any permanent changes to your mind. So you meditate, you do breathing meditation, it relaxes you. You feel temporarily calm and all is well, but then your anxiety comes back and you feel angry and disappointed and you think, damn it, I've started meditating. I was told that meditation would help me to overcome my anxiety and it just isn't working. Why is my anxiety continuing if I'm meditating? So here's the deal. The problem with meditation and anxiety is the way in which we've been taught to meditate in the West. So most people come to meditation these days from media, from reading articles, from watching videos, and from using apps. Those apps generally prescribe very generic meditations, such as, breathing meditations or simple mantra meditations. And that's wonderful for relaxation. But if you want to get more out of meditation, you have to train your mind to overcome the problems that you're facing. See, it's about approaching meditation in a way that will work for you as an individual. So, in order to get into why this is the case, I'm going to explain a little bit about anxiety. So anxiety is a range of different things. Maybe you have panic attacks. Maybe you have generalized anxiety. Maybe you just have unpleasant physical symptoms in your body that make you feel nervous. Maybe you have specific thoughts and feelings. The point is, the way that you, as an individual, experience anxiety is different to the way in which other people experience anxiety. So to overcome your specific form of anxiety, you need to use a meditation that will cure the problems in your mind. So let me say that once again. Your anxiety, is unique to you. You experience your own thoughts. You experience your own physical sensations. Therefore, you need a form of meditation that is going to cure the problems going on specifically in your mind. It's very much about applying meditation to the very specific things that are happening in your own mind. So that might sound a little bit confusing, a little bit difficult, but don't worry, because I'm going to make it far more simpler for you. So I'm about to go through a ton of different ways in which people experience anxiety, and I'm going to tell you how to overcome each one of them. So in this, I'm going to mention numerous meditation techniques. When I mention a symptom of anxiety that is true for you, so I say something and you think, this is happening in my mind, this is what my problem is, look up the specific meditation technique that I mention, and you can find them all on thedailymeditation.com. So, for starters, one of the most common symptoms that people face with anxiety is discomfort in the body. A very, very common form of this is you get stressed and you feel tension in your chest. And then your mind thinks, well, there's tension in my chest, something must be wrong. And so your mind goes haywire, thinking of all these things that could possibly be wrong, and you end up feeling worse and worse. So the key to overcoming this, if you have a physical sensation in your body that makes you feel nervous and gives you anxiety, the key to overcoming that is by practicing body scan meditation. So body scan meditation is basically a form of meditation in which we consciously scan the body from the head to the toes and back up. And this makes us less reactive to physical sensations. So for instance, if you do experience that physical tension in your chest, your mind's going to be able to say, okay, this is just a physical sensation that's temporarily occurring in my chest. I don't need to react to it. So you'll no longer start to feel anxious when you get that tension in your chest. So that's one form of anxiety, is physical sensations. By far the more common form of anxiety is all to do with thoughts. And these thoughts can manifest in all sorts of ways. For instance, I myself used to have terribly bad social anxiety. I used to think that everyone in the world was judging me and thinking the worst of me. If that sounds like you, if you feel that other people are judging you and you feel nervous around other people, the key to overcoming that is to practice compassion meditation. Now, compassion meditation from the Pali Canon is called karuna. There's also metta, loving kindness, but the better form of compassion meditation for social anxiety is karuna, which is a form of meditation in which we recognize the struggles that other people are going through and that we ourselves are going through. We visualize being compassionate to other people and those people being compassionate to us. And this trains the mind to think, hey, nobody here is perfect. We can all accept each other's problems and we can be compassionate to one another. So when you do that, you're going to feel much more warmth from other people, and it's going to really help you to overcome social anxiety. Another form of anxiety comes when we face a stressful moment in life. For instance, tons of students get anxiety before their exams. And this anxiety tends to manifest in a kind of sense of fatalism, in a sense that if this doesn't go right, it's going to be game over. So if that sounds like you, if you're going through a stressful moment in your life right now and you're being fatalistic and you're thinking, damn, if this goes wrong, then I'm really screwed. The key to overcoming that would be by practicing Vipassana meditation. So Vipassana meditation is a form of meditation in which we're focusing on the breath, and then as thoughts come to mind, we label them. And so we say, this is just a thought. It's not reality. It's just something that's temporarily occurring in my mind. And so when you do that, neuroscience shows that you become less reactive to thoughts. Another thing, again, if you're suffering from a stressful time at the moment that's making you think fatalistically, another excellent thing to do when you meditate, practice some cognitive behavioral therapy exercises. Cognitive behavioral therapy is like a really sciencey name for something that is actually quite simple. Basically, when you experience a painful thought, for instance, let's say you're thinking, if this doesn't go right, then it's game over. Examine that thought and challenge it. Say, well, okay, what if this doesn't go right? What will realistically actually happen? Because obviously it's not going to be game over. Obviously, if something goes wrong in your life, life is going to continue anyway. So what would actually happen after that? And so what you're doing, whatever form of negative thought you're suffering from, A, you're saying this is just a thought. And then B, you're saying, let's examine that thought. Let's put it under a microscope and let's take a closer look and let's make it a little bit more realistic so it isn't so darn fatal. Other forms of anxiety that people suffer from are phobias. So most people have at least one kind of phobia. My phobia was actually going to the dentist. I used to be terribly, terribly afraid. And I'm sure there's a joke there because I'm British. But anyway, so phobias lead to anxiety all the time. Essentially, the closer you get to your phobia, the closer you get to the thing that you fear, the more anxiety you feel. Now, ironically, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, ironically, the best way to overcome this is by very gradually exposing yourself to your fear. This is actually a well-established form of therapy called fear exposure. So what you do is you gradually approach your fear. So let's say my old fear of going to the dentist. Well, I wouldn't be happy going to the dentist, right? So how could I gradually approach that one step at a time? Okay, maybe I could read an article online about dentistry. Maybe I could watch a video. Maybe I could go to the dental office, but not actually have an appointment. Maybe, and so on and so on and so on. Same thing with fear of flying. If you've got to fly somewhere and you're feeling really anxious about it, the best thing to do is just very gently, incrementally expose yourself to the fear. Maybe you can look at pictures of planes the first time. Then maybe you can drive by the airport. Then maybe you can go in the airport. Then maybe you can look at booking a ticket online. What you're doing is you're training your mind to feel okay at gradually increasing levels of exposure to your fear. You're approaching your fear, but in steps that are so small that your mind can handle it each step at a time. And so that's a bunch of different ways in which people experience anxiety. My overall point with this video is that you're not going to get the results that you want by just using some generic meditation that happens to be on like Headspace or something. It's not going to solve your problem because you're not training your mind to specifically overcome the problems that you as an individual are going through. You have to say, okay, I have anxiety, but what is that in my mind? What is it that is specifically happening to me? And how do I deal with those specific problems? And that is why meditation isn't working for anxiety if you've just been doing generic meditation, and what to do about it instead. So I'd recommend that you take a look at my blog, thedailyMeditation.com, read through the different kinds of meditation techniques, and just think, okay, does this apply to the very specific problem that I have? And if it does, then do it. My name is Paul Harrison, and if you would like to book a private meditation session with me, you may do so on thedailyMeditation.com. Until next time, stay sensational.